On August 8th, 2026, we finally got confirmation from world leaders himself that Flesh Fever is finally on priority for the entirety of this month. So we are all familiar with the Weaver storyline of DragonFable, right? There's the Book 1 and Book 3 Atomic Sagas, there's the first Weaver saga, and the two-parter Aiding Mortem questline. Let's start with the weakest part of the storyline, the Book 1 Atomic Saga. Honestly, I still remember how this was one of the first sagas I completed as a kid instead of playing the main story in chronological order. I still don't know why exactly I chose to go to Ravenloft first. Maybe because Atomic just looks so dope as an NPC and I wanted to become a soul weaver. Either way, I played the saga and it was alright. I don't think I cared a lot about the actual story since I was fascinated by the visuals of Atomic's moveset and the soundtracks more. As far as my current opinion goes after playing the story, it still kinda is alright. Book 1 Atomic Saga lays the foundation, sets up the character dynamics pretty well, and expands the world of DragonFable even more. However, since the saga is set in Book 1, it lacks the nuance that the Book 3 sagas tend to have. Lucky for us, the saga's sequel in Book 3 is known for being one of the best sagas in DragonFable, so let's talk about that now. I kid you not, Thomas's Book 3 design is such a perfect evolution of his character. From a man just trying to correct his mistakes to looking like an experienced hero who has suffered enough, he genuinely looks the part. Book 3 Aegis's design is also impeccable. Book 1 Aegis was pretty simplistic, but it was an effective design. However, now that enough time has passed, he looks stronger and much more supportive. But we aren't just here to talk about the visuals, of course. The saga's writing was glorious. We had lore dumps with Pandora's backstory and the subtle foreshadowing of the first Weaver, fun character dynamics with the Void Ship crew, nuanced scenes that genuinely made you resonate with Thomas's journey, and of course the devastating finale. As much as I love the first Weaver and Calamity, I would be lying if I said those sagas could make me connect to the characters as much as the Void Ship saga did. Despite being a really evil antagonist, it is really insane how I felt bad for Asper's side of the story and what he had to deal with. It really is a massive step up from Book 1's writing, where everything was much more surface level. Also again, the backgrounds, Void Ship, and key story moments had such incredible visuals. Like, this saga was so well rounded. But you know which saga clears this one when it comes to the writing? I genuinely did not think there was a way to top the Void Ship saga, and yet here we are. The saga is so different from the usual stories we get in DragonFable due to the strong writing and the tones it displays. Fascinating how this saga exists in the same game as Bacon Orb. While you don't necessarily connect with the characters, you will definitely be drawn towards the events that take place during this short saga. Not only do the story beats involve more mature themes, it also ties itself to the lore of the Weaver storyline pretty well, especially with the finale's events being a very crucial piece. It is insane how this saga doesn't feel like a lore dump with how much we find out about the Weaver storyline. The mature themes also don't feel forced or added in just to be cool and edgy. It is actually relevant to the story at hand. I'm also trying not to spoil much since this saga is best experienced when you go in blind. I love the narrative choice to tell the story in a non-chronological order, as it does make it much more interesting compared to how the other sagas play out. Honestly, this saga does feel the closest to being made like a standard show, as you're literally just watching the story play out instead of actually having your character play a significant role like Void Ship. A lot of people do tend to call this the best saga in DragonFable, and I have to agree. It truly is a masterpiece and deserves all the praise it gets. But man, the follow-up of this saga isn't going to get as much praise from me. Aiding Mortem is a short two-parter questline following Katia and her headmaster. Honestly, apart from some very good visuals and a few lore moments, I didn't care much about the story. Saga is an interesting character, I suppose, but there isn't much there. It is meant to serve as an epilogue to the first Weaver saga, so I will give it that, but it's just a simple adventure with not much room for character development. Not that it really needs it. But you know what isn't gonna be a simple adventure? Yes, I won't just be leaving this video without talking about the recent news. The team released the Pirater Infight, which shows off what we should look forward to regarding Flesh Fever, and the release officially declares Flesh Fever to be the priority for this entire month. It has been so damn long, but we finally got here, I suppose. I'm yet to finish the fight, but I did play it a bunch of times, and yeah, the animations do look pretty nice. But I do wonder how much of the original ideas are still left intact for the actual storyline. Especially with Warriors basically saying that Soul Weaver won't be locked after becoming Flesh Weaver, which probably just means Soul Weaver becomes a non-canon class, like Chaos Weaver. I do have higher expectations from this story since it's from the same guy who wrote the first Fever and it's been in the works for 10 plus years. Like, considering Flesh Fever is supposed to be an evil class and all, I'm really hoping we get to see the hero have a moral dilemma. Let me see the hero have regrets about becoming Flesh Fever. Let me see how Flesh Fever impacts the perception society has on the hero. And let me see Draco hating on the hero for doing this. I know this is very visual, but yeah, if you're gonna say this class is a canon class, and it's a pretty horrifying choice to make considering you have to eat Aegis, I want to see the consequences. And regardless, I'm still excited for this class and I will make another video when the story and the class drops. I might even throw in some streams of doing infights with Flesh Fever. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this complicated but incredibly awesome part of DragonFable's lore. Hopefully Flesh Fever lives up to the hype. Thanks for watching!